Hi, you guys. I'm here with Suzanne Martin. We're doing a yoga health coaching gym on, I kind of like this working title that we've got on playing the edge and introverted coaching and believing in yourself. And what did you say, Ishvari Pranidhan?
Yeah, Ishvari Pranidhan. Yeah, it's been a big thing that I've been negotiating with, is having faith in myself. And it's not like I don't know what to do to be a successful coach. You've given me all the tools and all the steps, and when I do them, it works out great. But I'm noticing that I self-sabotage, and I self-sabotage because I have a deep fear about standing in my own light and the responsibility that comes when you do.
So where I would initially go with this, just from what I've learned about attachment and from my last conversation with Mia, with her work with Gabor Mate on attachment and authenticity, there's this level of when we're really just grounded in the light, right? That's essentially what Ishvara Pranidhan is, like grounded and totally in service to whatever's happening through us. And it's in recognizing that it's everything shot through with divinity, including our purpose, including how we're called to, by our interest in what we want to do and to have purpose and meaning in our life. Like that really matters. And then how do we stop getting in the way of that? Yeah. So the attachment thing, right? It's like, do you know where you weren't allowed to do that? And have you processed that?
Where I wasn't allowed to stand in my own light? Yeah, like my whole life. My whole life, all of childhood, traumatic upbringing, all of that, the way that I was brought up, the different forms of abuse, and then now, I feel like I've worked through it, and I can see, we talked about abuse the other day in another call as well, I think it was a Body Thrive call, and I can see how everything that I've gone through is in service to me helping other people. I can see that, and I can see
is that from the Gap in the Gain, the experience transformer? Yeah. So like anyone in Body Thrive who missed that, that was like December, I don't know, it was the week of December 16th, we'll say. Okay, keep going.
So just
did that help? Did it help you turn? It's like grist for the mill, right? Where it's like you are in on a different side of those experiences where you're able to make them more useful for your future.
I've already been doing that. Like I've experienced this, and now I can stand in this position coaching other people that have been through it. And it's been a really big boon to them and to myself as a coach.
Yeah.
What I'm noticing is that, like, when it comes to growing and expanding beyond my little group, or things like marketing or promotion, or just deep down, there are these little sabotaging behaviors that I have. Like, we can make schedules until I'm blue in the face. Like, I've made that schedule. I've done the master review thing where we've done all the schedules and planned everything out, right?
Yeah.
I'll just look at the schedule the night before or the day of, and I'll just be like, fuck it when it comes to the day, because I just want to, the personality just decides that it doesn't want to step up because it's a lot of responsibility, and it's really, really scared of
what
shining bright, and like what that feels like, because it's been suppressed all its life.
So what's the worst case scenario? Let's walk through it. You stand in your light, you shine bright, you walk the talk. Like, really, you act it out, right? A belief is to act it out. Like you are a hardcore sadhana yogini.
Right.
You are that. So now you're like, I have to act it out. And this is my spiritual challenge.
It's funny because, like, I don't think anything can be worse than anything that I've lived through already.
I'm sure not.
I'm just like
Yeah.
I don't know.
So let's sit with that. Like, let's just actually, because this is part of that recalibration practice in the practice lab, is like, just sit with, like, you've actually already gone to hell and back. Like, you know that journey. You've gone to hell and back. You've done it multiple times. And just actually, and it might, sitting or standing, but just really ground through your feet and exhale through your feet, that like your feet have walked the journey to hell and back, and know the path. And that's a path worth knowing. It's such a path worth knowing. It's in all the goddess traditions. It's the oldest story that we have, is that it's like, you've come back from there. And now you have to tell the tale, because others are still there and they don't know how to get back. And they don't know how to move forward. And just breathe it, like, just be in it, and let your inner body, your inner subtle body, actually expand and into the physical body, and even expand into the auric space around you. So it's like, yeah, you've gone to hell and back. You know the route. And you know that hell can also lead to heaven. And for some reason, you're called to guide, or you're called to do whatever it is you're called to do, and whatever the words come up that you're called to do it in. And now all you have to do is act that out. And kind of curious about what will happen when you act it out. Like, with some, like, what's next? And then when you start to feel the edge and the fear of that, go back into, wait, I've gone to hell and back. Go back into I know these feet have walked this journey, and I'm not afraid of that. And I've evolved from that. I've evolved into my next level experience. Okay, how's it feel in your just in your energetic body? Like, what?
So I think what came up at first was, you're not supposed to. Like, me telling myself I'm not supposed to. And then as I kind of like went.
You're not supposed to what?
You're not supposed to be you're not supposed to be in your own light, in your own strength. And then my higher self, is inner monologue, is like, you're not doing this for yourself, you're doing this for them. And I'm okay with that. But the moment a lamp gets shined on me, this jiva, or this, this,
Yep.
right? Then it's like, it's this dance that I just can't. It's like, okay, like, oh, for the benefit of all, fine, yes, I will under the bus, I will tell this story. Like, most of my students know, but it's like, once the light starts to shine on me at all, as the person and who I am now, like, it's just, nope.
Okay.
Don't.
So that means, in a way, there's a way to structure marketing so that you're constantly shining the light on others. And it's the person who holds the mic and passes the mic, right? And it's not a star archetype, it's a supporter archetype in wealth dynamics. And it's super important. Like, there's not more value to one archetype than another. There's just one that gets attention. Stars get attention because stars demand attention, right? They're very demanding. Like, I have a star child, and it's like, she has been demanding people's attention since she came out of the womb. Like, it was like, okay, I'm the star of the show, so you have to pay attention to me. Supporters, if your wealth dynamic is supporter, then you build your marketing around demonstrating your support, and you're championing the journey of others and the hard things they're doing to overcome their hardship. Because essentially, that's your niche. Like, you know that your journey is in service to others, because, like, otherwise, why would you have had to walk it? Like,
Right.
Nothing would make sense. does that help? Just knowing like, oh, if I planned my marketing calendar around highlighting, like doing little interviews with people and like what is making the difference, your course members.
Right.
And even, yeah, go ahead.
It's better to take the spotlight off of me.
Yeah.
Because it's not about me. Even though
Yeah.
like, even though my life was a teaching, it's not about me.
Yeah. So there's the support, you know, another thing I've seen supporters do exceptionally well. And this is where in the personality tests and that we use are helpful in YHC and Master Review. The how to fascinate. There's one that's the connoisseur. We had a really successful yoga health coach really early on who had this connoisseur archetype where she never had to create an experience. She would just like borrow off already cool experiences and bring her group to those places and highlight, you know, whether it was a tea room or whether it was a park or whether like highlight the place or the person or the building or the business or whatever the thing was. So again, it's a deflection. It's a deflection, super effective way of doing marketing where it's not directing all the spotlight. It's actually like figuring out how cool deflection creates light.
Right. Right. Yeah, that sounds doable. I can hide behind that for a while.
Well, it's something else will happen in the process. So what are your convictions? I mean, you've heard me talk for a year about letting your convictions drive your messaging. And what if, I don't know if you heard, were you on Ask Cate last night when I went off on what is medicine? Okay, no problem. You might want to listen in somewhere around after halfway through. I just I get on my soapbox and I'm like, what is medicine? Like, because I have strong convictions about what I think medicine has been historically over time, what I think medicine is today, what I think, I thought about this, right? What certain people think medicine is and some of their assumptions and beliefs behind that versus other groups. I have a lot of convictions around like, what is healing and what is medicine? And because I know that that's what I'm super interested in, it helps me then create content around that. And that's my question for you is it's like, what are you super interested in? And you know what your convictions are and where do those two things intersect? And then how do we help you connect with other people as part of what you're doing in marketing to help enroll people into your journey?
Right. So I really believe that the self can heal the self, the supreme self can heal the self. And when people can attune to Buddhi, they're led to their highest and greatest and they heal. And so when I'm coaching, I'm really working on bringing them to their intuition as your body thrive. Like you have a million exercises that we do together that really help bring people to intuition and learn how to like sacrifice these smaller kind of short-term sense gratifications for the longer term goals. And so that's really what I focus on when I'm with them, because I know that once they can tap into that inner voice, then they're going to make the decision they need to make as far as their own health and well-being.
So, wait, I'm sorry, hold on. It's 3:30. I'll be ready in like 7. Yeah, sorry about that. We have a miscommunication. You have strong convictions around it's something around like spiritual growth, soul development, how like yogic philosophy works to explain things that people don't get in Western culture. Right? Because like even the way you speak in Vedic coded language to some degree, and I get it because I've done that in the past too. And it's like, it's for a good reason. It's a better language. If we're talking about spiritual growth and soul development and things like Ishvara Pranidhana and the lived experience of that, like that's a calling to speak at that level. Like in, you know, if we look in organized religion, like it's the preacher, it's the pastor, it's the one who can actually elevate people's consciousness and direct people towards their own inner light. Now, not all health coaches do that, right? So you have convictions and beliefs around that, and people are drawn to you for that.
And yet I have a hard time standing in that.
But that's okay. That's just you being like, this is hard. I get it. I'm in it too. Like you see me do that all the time. Like even today on the challenge, I was like, I don't have good self-discipline. That's why I create these things. It's like group momentum works way better than personal discipline. I promise you, lived experience. So I think allowing yourself off, there's something in it, the perfectionist archetype, that you need to figure this out perfectly. And and you've got to be, it's kind of like let yourself mess up, like let yourself do it messy in front of the world, because that's how everyone does it, who's really doing it. And that's that attachment authenticity. That's the authentic experience. And that's what'll actually enable people to connect with you. And people are looking to you for this philosophy, for this spiritual depth work, in the healing work, and where that intersects with spiritual depth work and in a purpose-driven life. So you don't have to have it like, this is where the authenticity, you just get on and you're like, this is really hard, right? And this is why I'm talking to so-and-so today, right? It's because this work is hard and she just had a breakthrough. And we're going to talk about that for 5 minutes. And that's a little, you know, thing on your social media, or a story you're sharing in a newsletter, or a way of, yeah. So that's
right.
And just keep coming back to that whole thing from Carl Jung of like, a belief is to act it out. Belief is to act like what small action do I take today in marketing that other people can see about your convictions and about your teachings on spiritual growth.
Right. So on the one hand, there's like this deep desire and knowing that I'm here to kind of, in one way or another, preserve the oral tradition, right? And like in its more original form. On the other hand, there's like, oh, I'm here to share the teachings in a way that people can understand them.
Yes.
Right. So I guess sometimes it's like when we're using the Sanskritam and stuff, you know, it's just like, but then to not honor that.
Where is it getting in the way of results? And I think there's this level of, I mean, one of the things I'm doing a lot of writing in marketing this week. And I'm like, oh my God. And I talked about it a little bit last night too. Like, we have to understand that people's attention spans are so much shorter than they were 5 minutes ago. Like literally, you know, like last year, literally, like how I write different than 5 years ago, different than 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And some of these teachings, they're pre-printing press, and they're oral, and they're deep, and then your job is to like, how do I use this to help someone who's gone to hell, is still in hell, and has to deal with hell in the modern version of that, which is like so much overwhelm and so much sensory overload. And then how do you make that teaching relevant right now? And if you play that edge, you'll be endlessly fascinated. And then what you can do is like, even in a social media post, is like you start with that, and that brings them in. And then you reference the teaching.
Right.
Because now they have a reason to learn the teaching. And then you're in transmission because you're teaching the teaching from the source.
Yeah, I think that's where it's been getting confusing, is the niching and like, yeah. Like,
don't worry about niching, just worry about like, these are my convictions. How can I be useful? How can I highlight other people's progress? How can I take this into a teachable moment? And there's I'm grabbing a little, like, you know, just what am I looking for? This piece of paper. This is something I got from James Altucher. It's like the back, it's just the back of a checkbook. but he forces himself to ideate, and it forces creativity. And so even if you're like, if you keep track in the day, if you say, I'm going to come up with 10 small teachings. Now, 7 of them are going to suck, but 3 of them are going to be really good and worth acting out. Right. And you just train yourself to keep thinking, these things are teachings. These things are teachings. Right. And you just then start sharing, something will happen. Something different will happen. And you'll find the right bite-sized chunk, and you'll find the like, so-and-so will comment, oh, I'll also do a quick interview with this person from Yoga Health Coaching on this little teaching. And you'll start to notice that like, you are out of the way. That whole persona, that whole layer, deep scarring attachment issue, it is dissolved by taking the action.
Right.
Okay, I gotta run. I gotta do gymnastics carpool. We'll book another one though, because I know this is like the most chaotic coaching gym session. You did great. I would love for you to listen to this again and then message me on the Yoga Health Coaching Forum with like what really landed, because this will be right on the forum. So just message what really landed. We'll invite the other yoga health coaches to message what really landed, because I'm sure like they're all like, there's a whole group of the introverts that's like right there and really needed you to process this live with us. I'm so serious.
Thank you.
You bet. You bet. Yeah. I so honor your spiritual practice and your depth of knowing. Yeah. And we got to help that get out more.
Helpful getting me out of, oh, I'm okay with this as it is right here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that doesn't happen around me. Okay. Mwah. Bye.